Hello, hello, hello. Greetings and blessings, beautiful souls. This is Alicia. I am Barney Matahari, and I'm here back today with you again for another pick a card reading. Today we are asking your higher self what makes you the genuine article, what makes you the real deal. So in pile number 1, we have got this gorgeous starseed essence. It is Cosmic Unicorn Remedy, Flower and Gem Remedy. So that's pile number 1. Pile number 2, we've got this beautiful violet flame, Monatomic Andara Essence. Stunning, that color. And pile number 3, we've got Akasha from Sacred Land, Monatomic Andara Essence. So take a moment, decide which pile is for you, and I am going to begin with pile number 1 in just a teeny tiny second. Alrighty, so pile number 1, we have the Flower and Gem Remedy. That is the Cosmic Unicorn Remedy. Lovely. We'll pop that over there. And we'll look at your nakshatra card first. Barney. Okay, we might need to cover some things up here. Okay. We should be good with this. Barney is number 2, second nakshatra. Barney is in Aries. Beautiful. She who bears the star of restraint. And it's, if you can see that, I'm getting the Holy Grail actually from this. It is, it's the symbol of it is Yoni. Beautiful. From Sacred Geometry Oracle, Activations Oracle, you have got Romantic Love, card number 39. Look at this color just being echoed right here. Flower of Life, Romantic Love. And actually Barney is that death-defying love. Like I think you're the real deal when it comes to partnership. Absolutely. And actually Barney energy also is it's in Aries Holy, which is the start of the zodiac wheel, and also it's also represented by the four of wands, which is that celebration, that like it's the card of, it's known as the twin flame card also as well. This is from the Journey of Love oracle, or Journey of Love deck, and this is the Pearl Threaded, card number 38. So beautiful. I'm going to put it down here actually, underneath this one. And I'm getting Gemini energy from this, and a lot of music. The Pearl Threaded. Oh, so gorgeous. Beautiful. This is from the Soul Cards deck. There isn't really a guidebook with it, so it's really kind of visual, I guess visual cues, what you feel from it. So I'm going to pop that down here. And again, I'm seeing in this very much, I'm seeing like kind of the colors echo down here. Very, very strong sacral root and also throat chakra for you, pile number 1. And Barney is ruled by Venus, and Venus rules the throat and the neck, which is also echoing. And of course, look at all this blue around this gorgeous, gorgeous, vibrant pink. Oh, and from the medicine card deck, you've got Hummingbird Medicine. Pile number 1, you have such beautiful energy. Such beautiful energy. And the 44 is the number of Kuan Yin. And one of the stories of Kuan Yin that I really, really love is that she ruled over, like she was bodhisattva, but she also kind of, when I say ruled over, she kind of, I want to say stewarded over the animal kingdom in some of the legends of Kuan Yin. And she's associated with the peacock, actually, because there was one of the stories that I love about her is she was asked by the animal kingdom, you know, when you're around, everything is great and we all get along, but when you leave us, things fall apart and we can't get along and there's fighting and all this kind of stuff. And what she ended up doing was she ended up creating the peacock. And that's where it said that the peacock got its feathers, the male peacock. And she would watch over the animal kingdom through the feathers of the peacock and have the eyes on the animal kingdom. And she imparted to them, you know, I have my bodhisattva work to do. I'm working for spirit. You have to learn to work with each other. And it's just she has just such a beautiful, compassionate energy. The other thing about hummingbird is, it's delicate, but also incredibly loving. And hummingbird can fly in all directions, and it also can hover. So there's a duality here. And I'm getting as above, so below with the hands. So I feel like you're this divine love, which would really echo the twin flame narrative. And it's my belief that we don't have another counterpart out there per se. I think that we have soulmates and soul pods, let's say, that we're connected to. And I think a lot of the soul pod would incarnate together as a collective. And I don't think we all incarnate together at the same time. Like I kind of feel like our guides can be part of our soul pod as well. And in some incarnations, when we evolve, let's say on a soul level, when we ascend past the cycle of reincarnating, which is really echoed by Barney as well, because it's she who bears, and she is she watches over she's like a doula. She kind of what's that word? I can't think of it, but you know, kind of the word that's coming to mind is portal, but that's not the word I'm looking for right now. But I'll use it for the moment. But between worlds, that kind of transition between worlds, between birth and death, between death and the other side, for want of a better word. So I'm really seeing that you carry that energy, and you may indeed be a starseed or be an ascended energy that has chosen to come in and incarnate and steward, we have that word again, steward mankind, steward humanity through this, at this time, in order to help, to really to hold a vibration through your lessons, because there's a certain level of, I think that we can incarnate in different levels. And we talk about awakening. Even those of us that incarnate as, let's say, starseeds, for example, you're an older soul, because the Earth, relatively speaking, to some of the other planets are relatively new. So you have this other experience that you bring down, and you're activating codes in humankind, in the Earth, in Mother Gaia. You're connecting to the crystal grid. You're connecting to the crystals in Mother Gaia. And with that comes messages and activations. And we have crystals in our blood too. So you could be walking around the place. You could have a conversation with somebody and be activating them and awakening them. And the thing with Barney is when you, Bardo, that was the word I was looking for. Bardo. And that's, all of this is really echoing for me. But the thing with the hummingbird is that they're a bringer of joy. So I really believe that you're very, very adept in holding an energy of joy, irrespective of what's happening around you. And in order to be able to ground that in and to be able to hold strong, that's a delicate, like it takes a strength, but it also takes an incredible amount of metabolizing that energy. And I'm hearing that quote from Eleanor Roosevelt: all the water in the world can't drown me if I don't let it in. So I believe that part of what makes you the real deal is not only your natural frequency, but your ability. And I'm seeing you kind of ascending down rather than from the earth up, like through the Kundalini from your crown chakra, your soul star chakra, your crown chakra, down to your root. So I believe that you have had to learn how to root into Mother Gaia and connect. So, and that's kind of reminding me of Pisces energy, because in tarot, you know, Pisces is number 12. It's the last sign in the zodiac, and we're now moving from Pisces back into Aquarius, and we're moving from the 3D to the 5D. So you have that paradox of moving forward and backwards at the same time and in all directions. And that's what expansion is: as within, so without. So you're teaching others by being you. And Barney is very I'm going to be the best version of me. It's there's a purity of it, and there's a fire. I mean, you can see here outcast, death, birth, mother, purification. So that fire energy, and Aries is Mars energy. So I believe that you really had to learn you're probably incredibly powerful, and that would be very attractive to people, and they may have tried to contain you. And that's the thing with hummingbird, which is very strongly echoed here. Hummingbird is delicate, Bharani is powerful. So you have a light touch, and also the hummingbird, it withers. It will not be caged. It will not be contained. It cannot. It needs to be free. So I believe you need to have, particularly when we're seeing all this this blue as well, the throat chakra, you need to give yourself, and I believe that that's the journey that you're on this lifetime, really through leading by example, really letting others see you be the outcast, be willing to stand apart in a very fierce and a very balanced way. And obviously, you know, we all start with the life path it's this dance, it's this journey. So finding your person, you may have spent a lot of time alone actually, in order to be the version of you who you would want to be in a relationship with. Because if you're a starseed, for example, you may have incarnated into a family where your ability to teach and to nurture was really needed. So to purify some generational traumas and things like that. Music is coming through very strongly for me as well. So the pearl that threaded. So also the fact I really can feel a duality with you, pile number one, the delicacy and the strength, the air and the fire. If you had I bet you if you had a reading, you would have some, well, I don't know. You could be someone who had, kind of like an imbalance in either your fire or in your vata, which is air energy. And you might have had to learn how to ground that into earth. And Venus, remember, rules Barney. So Venus is creative. Venus is earthly as well. Nature, all those kind of things. So that's probably really, really powerful for you. But also the arts, your values. Like if you're not living up to your own values, if you're being projected on, or you're allowing others' energy to project onto you, and you're not living from your heart center, because I'm seeing also the green from the heart chakra, and it's light green here, so you may have had to really I'm feeling that it's very pure for you, but it may have been, and I'm seeing this border around it, you may have had to learn how to protect it in order to be grounded, in order to birth the things that you want to birth in the world. Because your energy is so potent that it may have attracted a lot of players, I want to say, and even unhealed, which would manifest in playing, especially in your romantic life. So you may be somebody, and then with Barney and the twin flame card as well, that's giving me you love relationship. Maybe marriage is something that is attractive to you, and it's not attractive to everybody. You know, you want to go deep, you want to be in deep connection with somebody, and I think you would literally wither on the vine when somebody is giving you lip service for that, and you're saying the words, but it's not showing up. So I think you have had to learn how to go beyond face value and what was told to you over and over again, and that is bringing me back to the family trauma thing. So John Deloney has a phrase that he says, "What will keep you safe as in childhood will destroy your adult relationships." So you may have been someone who, The Dance of Anger is another book that I'm thinking of. And one of the things that the author talks about in The Dance of Anger is that there's, if you're in a codependent relationship and you're the one who's doing all the emotional work, you're not actually helping serve the other person, but that takes time to learn that, and it's a very painful lesson actually to recognize that you are the person who's been doing the emotional work, and then you get really depleted, and then when you turn around and look for assistance, or you are turning around being vulnerable, and that someone's like, well, that's your problem, you need to go to blah blah blah. So a non-reciprocal kind of partnership that could be and that plays out then into your work situation, that plays out into your friendships, that plays out into all areas of life. And I also get really strong from Barney, not only strength, but also very regenerative, as well as death and birth. That really speaks to me of transformation, like the navigating and walking or dancing. I'm getting dancing very strongly for you. Dancing through the cycles of life, and of course that's represented, of course, with the bardo. And I'm also thinking of the redwoods, the giant redwoods. They require a forest fire in order to be able to regenerate. So you're very spiritually connected, but you may not have recognized that or realized that when you were young, if you were not in a situation where that was part of the narrative. I know personally, I grew up in a house or a home or a household where there was the generation before me, there was, how do I want to put it? Corrupted religious energy. Very Catholic, but you know the whole story of what the Catholic Church went through, with all the priests and what was happening in that. That wasn't very prevalent in my family, but, well, not that I'm aware of. If it is, it's not talked about. But there was a weaponizing of religion. And because of that, my parents went the opposite direction, and there was God was verboten in my house. And they never said that outright, but they did very much celebrate, and like my I have a sibling who like is so, I actually ended up asking them one time. I was like, did something happen to you that you're so like vicious against the Catholic Church? Like what is it? Like what is your experience? But I don't know if it's something from a past life, or if he just absorbed this like church bad, like in this, you know, the way they talk about the TDS. He basically had TDS for religion and for Catholicism, and I don't know where that came from. Whereas me, I wasn't like I wasn't so much I was more neutral towards it, I guess. But as I've gotten older, I've really been drawn to the spiritual path, particularly very much the Indian pantheon, and very much the Egyptian pantheon, and also the Greek pantheons. And that's also very Venusian, because, you know, you can see from my name, I'm Barney as well. So this is probably my pile. And that's all to do with, like, I remember saying to one of my colleagues once, one of my spiritual friends, I'm gonna say, we were at a workshop, let's say, and I remember saying, what I love about and I was raised Catholic in Catholic school, what I love about the Indian pantheon is you don't have to go looking for the divine feminine. She is absolutely everywhere. She is celebrated, she is revered. And there's all the music and the adornment and the dance and just the beauty that is celebrated in that pantheon was really a draw for me. And, you know, lights and everything. And I really, really embraced that. And that makes so much sense, because I do have Barney. I'm Barney's son, but I have a stellium in Barney. So that makes sense for me. So we have this as above, so below. And I'm noticing that as above, the hand of God, if you can see it, is coming down here, the hand of the divine. And it's right there at the throat, which is right there at truth, right there. And from the picture, this looks like a masculine energy. So I think you probably are very close to Archangel Michael, even Metatron. I'm seeing some of the purple here. Metatron also had an incarnation on planet Earth. With this essence also, I feel you're very unique. You know, and that's what we're talking about in this. What makes you the genuine article? What's your secret sauce? And from this, the pearl that's threaded. So two things. The pearl, I mean, that starts from the oyster, and it comes from, you know, something getting in there. And the pearl forms over time from this irritation. And it's the mastering, if you will, physically, of having that irritation in its body. So I feel like you've probably been, and I'm seeing the river Styx here, which again is the moving from rough waters to calmer waters. So you could have been born in, I'm seeing that Batman, I forget which one it is, but it's the one with Marion Cotillard, where they take over Gotham City, and she presents in the beginning as, you know, a friend to the city, but actually she's the one behind it all. But when she was a child, she was actually born. She was the child of Ra's al Ghul. I think I'm saying that right. But she was, and her mother was her mother was somebody royal or somebody exalted, but because she had a child by this person, she was thrown down into this pit. And the daughter, who's played by Marion Cotillard, she ends up being able to crawl up out of this pit, basically. And then she comes into the world, and she ends up, like, she obviously goes down a negative path ultimately to get revenge on her father being killed. And actually, Barney is very, very, like, there's two paths for Barney. If it's in the following the light, it's becoming exalted. It's becoming exalted Venus. It's becoming the literal embodiment of your values and of who you are and of your truth and of your self-expression. So I think self-expression, your voice, the truth is very important for you. And also from this, not only am I seeing the pearl connected, and I'm seeing this as we talked a little bit about twin flame. So for me, twin flame is like when two soulmates connect with their own divinity, with their higher selves, with that Christ consciousness, with that beautiful divine energy. That's when they connect as twin flames. Twin flame for me is more of a process than two objects, and two subjects. I don't want to call people objects; they're not objects. So that for me, twin flame journey is kind of a process, and twin flame is the 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 coming together of two soulmates who have, and I don't think we're two halves of the whole. I think we're part of divinity. You know that phrase that talks about how the divine is the ocean, yet we're a drop in the ocean. So we are of the divine, but the divine is omniscient. The divine is omnipotent. The divine is eternal, and cyclical. And I'm getting that wave energy. The divine never stops loving us. The divine never leaves us. The divine is always with us. And I heard this quotation before. It's Mary Morrissey, and she talks about forgiveness being forgiveness is removing the blocks within myself of the knowledge of the love that's around me. So it's being able to connect back into that energy. But also from these, I'm seeing them as kind of like speakers, megaphones as well. And we've got a lot of blue and green here and a lot of white. So I think you're also and it's in darkness. So your vibration, your frequency is just so beautiful and so pure when you come back to it. And I feel like you probably had to climb yourself out of some emotional pit, maybe some poverty pit, maybe some ABUSEIVE pit, but you're just your strength and your purity is just, you know that song, what is it, The Sound of Silence? Like, you saying nothing says everything. When you withdraw your energy from people, that is the loudest sound. Absolutely. I mean, never even read this. The frequency of romantic love supports our journey to feel the whole and complete through the experience and reflection of a conscious lover. So you are someone, I believe, that would do really well in really understanding your body. And you may have had that journey. So I'm hearing dance again. But the other thing, and dance for me is very spiritual. I think it was, what is her name? Alana Fairchild, who said, the soul was reluctant to incarnate except for the music and the dance. I'm paraphrasing. That's not the way she said it, but that's the crux of what she was saying. That's the meat of what she was saying. And also yoga nidra. I'm kind of obsessed with it at the moment if you've listened to any of my other readings. But yoga nidra is really about withdrawing stimuli and coming into your own body. So that's, again, a nod to the duality of going within, as within, so without. And Gandhi talked about be the change that you want to see in the world. If you think about it, he was a lawyer, and then he went and became a Swami and started an ashram. So you have an integration of the different types of, I guess we're back to air with the lawyer for me. And with fire, that's the ashram, the spiritual juice. And I was doing some research on yoga nidra, And Yoga Nidra is the basis of Tantra. And I think that being in, this wham bam, thank you ma'am, the way that a superficial kind of intimate experience for you, I think you can possibly do that and like get some kind of feelings in your body and sensations and whatever, and it's all well and good. But I think without the heart connection and the intimacy and the energetics and the build up, I'm getting the slow, if you can think about it, the anticipation is what I'm trying to say. If you think about how, when kids are little, this whole build up to Christmas, like think of that in the bedroom. And I think that would be really I think you could stay in the bedroom for a week. And your partner is never going to get bored. It just goes deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's incredibly powerful. And it's beautiful, and I think you energize each other. And with the Tantra, the thing is that it's obviously you can't, we have to do life as well. So, you probably have a great honeymoon, but also you have to get back and interact with the real world. But having that in your auric field and doing that, building that over time with the same partner, I think that is really a beautiful thing for you. I'm actually drawn, I'm going to pull some tarot as well. I'm really drawn to this deck, which is Souls of Fire. And this is from, I think it is, I got it from a YouTube channel. Soulful Revolution, I think is the name of it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's beautiful. But I think it's the colors. It's such a gorgeous deck. But we're going to pull some tarot for you, pile number 1, and see what else makes you the genuine article. The genuine article is, as you can tell from my accent, I was born and raised, well, you might be able to tell. I was born, oh my goodness, raising consciousness. 3 of Swords. Okay, so you've overcome betrayal, grief, and it's raised your consciousness. Look at the fire in her eyes. Look at the green. She sees with her heart. She witnesses with her heart. And her eyeshadow is this turquoise. And she's got wings. I never noticed this before. She's got wings of fire. This is you, pile number 1. You are absolutely stunning. No betrayal is going to keep you down for long. That's a relative term, to be honest. For long, it may have seemed like a long journey. It could have even been years. However, it is something that it in the grand scheme of things, in the zooming out of more than one lifetime, of more than what the human playbook is, of the checklist of be born, go to school, get your degree, whatever it is in your community, all those external milestones are. You may have just gone another way. You may have had to. You also have the King of Wands, my goodness. Judgment. 10 of Cups, the Emperor, Aries energy. Pile number 1. My goodness. I might need to cover this up. So what I'm seeing for you, what makes you the genuine article, is your ability to metabolize grief, pain, betrayal, using who you are and holding that frequency and moving away. Like the hummingbird, part of the hummingbird was very connected to the animal kingdom. It's very unique. So we're back to the unicorn as well. So you are very unique. I think that you probably would have felt like the outcast. I also think that you actually have an ability to really shapeshift into the community. So you may not have realized, that The ugly duckling is coming to mind, and any of those stories where the lion was raised by wolves, another animal raised by a different type of animal, kind of mimicking and thinking that it's the same as them. I think you had that, and I think you absorbed, and I think your journey through grief was learning the truth of who you actually are. And through that, I believe that's your journey to finding your soulmate, who also will reflect that back to you. Because I think that being in some sort of relationship where your person cannot see you, and I'm hearing that phrase again, someone can only meet you as deep as they've met themselves. So somebody who's emotionally stunted, not mature, you would wither on the vine in a bedroom, in the relationship, in the marriage, in the business, if it's a business partner. I actually think that you could with your partner, you guys could start something together and create something and like really build your own Garden of Eden, your own sanctuary, your own ashram, your own whatever it is, your own spiritual based business. We've got the Queen of Swords, so I think you had to learn how to boss up in order to become your own emperor, in order to find the Ten of Cups, in order to to connect with your King of Wands. I think you've gone from a Queen of Swords into your own Queen of Wands, to be honest. And the other thing with the hummingbird medicine is very powerful. Hummingbird medicine, the story of it is that the chiefs really revered it, and they were when hummingbird comes, there's this idea of the because it's Native American, because it's Indigenous American, that shaman lore. And I don't know if lore is a disrespectful word. I don't mean it to be. I'm just talking about the story, basically storytelling, is that the white man would go away and things would return to their more natural source. And you can see that in society today. The hummingbird is like, you have this. So you might have had this actually as a kid, like this almost, or maybe not even as a kid, but maybe it built up over time. How just turning up the heat. You may have had anxiety because the hummingbird flits and flits and flits and flits and flits. So you may have been flitting a lot because you weren't grounded, and until you were grounded, you didn't learn to hover sufficiently, or maybe you hovered in the wrong places, which led to betrayal, grief, and a raising of a consciousness when you did your shadow work. And that's what's leading you to your Ten of Cups. And those of you who were betrayed, you're a beautiful, pure soul, and your purpose and your mission, if for want of a better word, is to hold your energy, that's your strength, to hold your frequency. And that leads you to, if divine partner is something that you're looking for, that's your path to it. And to being the truth of who you are. I mean, that's it for all of us, but particularly for you. You can't fake it. You just that's never going to be who you are. And you can do it for a while, but it will end up corrupting your own. No, I don't think it will ever corrupt your heart, but I think it will corrupt your auric field and your body. Like, it would start to make you sick. It would start to make you feel bad. You'd have a lot of guilt and shame. You would feel disconnected from the divine. You would feel disconnected from yourself. And I'm getting very strongly as well that you're very connected to your inner child. And also you have a beautiful connection with nature and with animals. You may have thought at one stage, that you were a bit of a misanthrope, someone who, is not, prefers to be away from humans, but you're not. You're a humanist, you're an idealist, you're an optimist. You're somebody who absolutely has 10 cups. you full for humans, heart chakra here behind the Emperor. And that's what you're here to do, to really, what makes you the genuine article is that no matter what's thrown at you, you're ever loving, and you love humanity, and you are willing to, you were willing to be betrayed, to walk this path, to go this journey, to be outcasted, to maybe to be alone for a really long time, or not, in order to get to not only to your 10 of cups, but to really bring the 10 of cups to Mother Gaia, to Mother Gaia's children, to the family that you incarnated in, to the whatever. And you cannot, I think you probably also had to learn that you cannot control anybody else. And I don't think you ever wanted to, but I think what you're learning is you can't do somebody else's work for them. And the dance of anger really talks about that, is that, and the hummingbird, it loves beauty, it loves joy, and it withers around negativity, and it withers around, it withers around cruelty. So you've probably been around cruelty and have had to move away from it. And that's what I'm seeing for you. That's what makes you the genuine article, pile number one. You're just beautiful. You embody beauty. You you light the way of beauty. You light the way of, you are, I'm seeing, what you call it for the ships. You are a lighthouse for humanity. That's what I'm seeing. And now I'm seeing, sailing reference again. The sailors of old sailed by the North Star. You are a North Star for the communities that you're in, but you do it by being true to yourself, being in your body, and leading the way that way. So pile number one, if you like my content, I'd love it if you'd stop by again. Thank you for letting me read your energy. It's absolutely beautiful. It is such a privilege and an honor to be in your energetic presence, to read for you, and to know you on an energetic scale, and through the community that we're building here. So hopefully I'll see you again in another reading, pile number one. So with that, I'm getting into pile number two. Pile number two. You had the violet flame, monatomic Andara essence. Gorgeous. Hasta, the hand, laughter. The golden-handed star, the power to manifest and place in it one's hand. Gorgeous. I'm hearing that, to have a hand in something. Divine masculine, 22. And 22 is a number of mastership. I'm just going to take a little drink here, pile number 2. The frequency of divine masculine supports our strong focus and active side, allowing it to express itself from helping us to bring our dreams and ideas into form with kindness and wisdom. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Dog medicine. Oh my goodness. This is your soul card. I'm going to put a little here, and a little here, and a little here, so we don't get in trouble with the YouTube. I'm getting very strong Gemini energy here. Very strong. And, oh, the spiral dance of the goddess. And it's interesting because 2 and 9 is 11, and that's breaking down to here. So I'm getting a lot of duality with you, pile number 2. And dog medicine. Hasta is representative of dexterity, skilled, merciless, grasping, handy. So without, and we've got pickpockets here. can't remember which animal it was. I think it might be there's one of the animal medicine cards that talks about having the ability to be the only one who can pickpocket spirit. So that's interesting. Also, Hasta is moon energy. And of course, it's green here. And that's interesting to me. The 13 is representative of, for me, the avatars, Pleiadians. If you have any placements at around 13 degrees, that can often signify that you're working with the Pleiadians on some level to with some of their projects for humanity. And the deity is Savitar, and I need to look that up because I don't remember what that is off the top of my head. So Savitar is the deity associated with this nakshatra is Savitar, a solar deity well known from the still widely used Gayatri mantra. The deity of first light, sunrise, who awakens consciousness, the light within. Savitar has installed in all human beings the Shakti that animates us with life and fills us with the creative urge. He is known to be benevolent and playful, interests in sports, games, and tricks. Okay, so I'm getting the higher end of trickster and this animation, which is really interesting, because divine masculine, that is the active energy, and the divine feminine is the being energy. We've got the spiral dance of the goddess, and we've got these back-to-back characters holding hands and also reaching out. So this is, I believe this is your divine masculine and your divine feminine. And look at how this energy is coming down from the divine. And we've got the four hands here, and this is Hasta. And Hasta, so your journey, what makes you the genuine article is really your ability you're highly skilled to use both your emotional energy, moon, intuition, to go into the depths. That takes skill. You can't just dive in and go down. There's like think about free diving, and the pearl is down there, and that reminds me of this. You have to train for that. You can't just go down. And even scuba diving, you need to get a certification to be able to go down into the depths and scuba dive. You need to be trained how to do it. And then when you're coming back up, you have to come up slowly, or you could get the bends. So there's a dexterity in your ability to go deep. And there's also how you use that emotional energy in the world, like the action that you take. And then, of course, we've got blue here, which is the throat chakra. And this sacred geometry again. Sacred geometry always reminds me of Metatron and Metatron's cube. So because I'm using this, it's going to come up in all three piles probably. But Metatron might be something that you relate to. But also in this, very, very, very strongly, this blue ray, this blue light, Archangel Michael. I think that you could be one of Archangel Michael's supporters on a soul level, that you work with Archangel Michael, invoking Archangel Michael, because divine masculine also has a protector energy to it. You know, I was listening to somebody on, I think it was Piers Morgan recently, and he was talking about like, you know, that the whole conversation about men and women in society, or the roles that men and women have, and the traditional versus the non-traditional. And you know, there's a lot of people involved in that conversation right now, and there's some interesting conversations having online. But the man, it was around like, what should a real man be? And there was one woman who was talking about that a real man should be a protector. And the guy kept saying, well, what do men get out of it? Like, nobody's ever talking about what a woman should be. And it was really, really interesting that, like, he just seemed to be missing the point of of masculine. And I'm not saying that, I think as humans, we all have to embody our own divine masculine and our divine feminine. And that brings me to dog to dog medicine, because dog medicine is all about loyalty. Dog medicine is absolutely beautiful. And there is in the dog medicine oracle, it talks about how the tribes and the chiefs always had dogs around, but back in the day they would have had an element of, we're here again with the duality. We have masculine and feminine here. We have emotional and action. Again, we've got duality, and this is planet Earth, and we've got the sun and the moon, duality. We've got the heart energy, but we've also got yellow for the hand, solar plexus. How do we act in the world? And the red around it is really showing me how do we ground that use of dexterity in the world. And then dog medicine, they would have, in the day, they would have been slightly domesticated, or maybe more than slightly domesticated. However, they also had a wild quality to them. And dogs are known as man's best friend, incredibly loyalty. But on the flip side, you can also see how humans have turned dogs against their own nature at times. Like, I'm thinking of like dog fighting, for example, where they breed them to be highly aggressive. I know that in the UK, for example, pit bulls are banned. You're not allowed to have pit bulls, or at least you weren't at some stage. I don't know what the situation is, but I remember when I was a kid, there was this story of a grandma babysitting her child, and she had a pit bull, and she left the room. And I'm not going to continue the story, but you can imagine what happened and what it led to. So they were outlawed because of that. I guess the dog was jealous of the child. And also I'm thinking of the I forget what that movie is called, but Meryl Streep is in it, and it's set in Australia, where the woman, A Cry in the Dark, that's it. It's an old movie, but the wild dog ran off with the baby. Haven't seen that for years and years and years. But that's the, like, over time, even though that baby that we're talking about, and the grandma's pet, even though it was domesticated, it came from a breed that had a history of being bred for aggression. So wherever she got that animal from, there, our genetics carry some of the previous generations energy in the actual physicality of it. It's not like, oh, I'm just going to think differently and I'll be different. You actually have to metabolize that. You have to not only practice it, in order to be able to effectively change, you actually have to walk the walk as well as talk the talk. Dog medicine is interesting as well, because there you can see that the loyalty can sometimes, dogs who are ABUSED, and I have a rescue animal myself, and I noticed that there's certain things, like if I raise my hand at all, I got her when she was 11 months, and she's a beautiful, loving, nurturing, just a sweet little baby. And she was actually, it was her birthday recently, and she's an Aries. So I'm filming this in April, but her birthday is, on her paperwork, is 4/4. So she is an Aries portal dog, and I'm Barney, so that, I really feel like she was a gift from the divine for me. But when I raise my hand just to even say hi to her or something, like it's still in her body. She'll still cower down. And I've had this dog for 5 years. She'll still cower down. So I don't know what happened to her before I got her. I do know that she was in a kill shelter and that they bred her for puppies. But since she came to me, you know, she is she is the emperor of the house. She is so sweet. But dog medicine asks us to so you can breed the loyalty out of the dog. So whoever she was with before, they can cower and cry at the slightest look of disapproval, but that's not in their nature. So someone like humans can be like that too. So you could have been somebody who was, terrorized or ABUSCD as well. And having the dexterity to overcome that and to process, metabolize. I'm kind of over the alchemize thing because it doesn't, it's alchemy to me is, I guess it's just so vast that it's hard to, it's almost even hard to nail down. Like alchemy for me is that like almost coming back to your natural frequency, getting in harmony with the divine frequency. And in order to do that, there's so many steps. There's like the physical body, there's how we work in the world, there's how we interact with our emotions, there's how we communicate. And I guess we have the throat chakra here. And it's about, like, you need to get to a level of mastery before you've alchemized anything. I'm now more about metabolizing. Because we're on Earth, because we're and Earth is in its 3D, which is very much kind of like the third chakra, which we have the solar plexus chakra. How do we metabolize that? How do we use that? How do we use our circumstances? And Mary Morrissey also has this beautiful quote that she says. She's like the curriculum of our evolution are the circumstances of our life. And that's just so beautiful. We have to learn how to metabolize in 3D the emotions, the memories, the things, the red flags that were planted in our nervous system, as John Deloney kind of puts it, in our formative years. And that's us maturing on our path. And, it's a long way before we come to alchemy, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not telling you what to believe, but that's just kind of how I'm thinking about it. And I remember being at an ashram, and our teacher who was teaching us mantra, her spiritual name was Sita. And she was like, so how many of you people came here just, to kind of bliss out or whatever? How many of you came here from a place of pain? And I think everyone raised their hands from a place of pain. And that was just, I guess the things in the world weren't working. So there was a call to spirituality, and every one of us had answered the call in our own ways to our own pain. And that's where we were, one of the steps on the journey of metabolizing whatever pain we were dealing with. And we probably wouldn't have described it as that. And some of us literally did think we were there. Oh, I think I'm just going to go off and hang out in an ashram and because I was there for yoga teacher training. And it was interesting because it was a lady from Saraswati. It was a lady from French Canada, from Quebec, who used to be a ballet teacher, and she used to teach ballet in Haiti, which is interesting because I also had lived in Haiti for a while, and Haiti's an interesting country because Haiti was the first. Sorry, I'm tangenting, but I'm just going to tell you this anyway. It was the richest country. It was richer than the United States at one point. It was the first Black republic in the world, and then through their reparations, through getting their independence from France, they have never recovered. Absolutely never recovered. And also their terrain was attacked. It used to have a lot of the land itself got highly damaged. There's a lot of things that they're working on to fix it now. For example, where they're using a lot of the trash to kind of to make jewelry and to make fashion, but also they're trying to rebuild the land as well through mangoes and all that kind of thing through farming, because a lot of the trees were cut down, and the trees kept protected the land in a way where the population couldn't sustain itself, and it wasn't technologically advanced either. So it's a really interesting story. But anyway, back to dog medicine. The when dog medicine shows up in your reading, sometimes you're asked, to look inward and to ask yourself, have I forgotten what I owe allegiance to? Have I forgotten my truth? Have I forgotten, where my mastery is being used? Is it possible that gossip or opinions of others, projection of others, has, corrupted my loyalty to myself, to someone in my soul family, to a good person, to the divine? You're asked to look at those questions. Have I denied or ignored someone who is trying to be a friend to me? Am I turning my back on genuine love? And that can happen when, loyalty is beaten out of us, because we don't recognize then the love in its purest form. We have to self-forgive, and that's the removal of the absence in me of a knowledge of awareness of love around me. So when that gets corrupted into aggression, look at what happened to the baby. And then the other part of it is, why am I here? I think it was Mark Twain who said the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you realized why you were born. Am I being loyal to my goals, to my purpose, to who I am? So I think that's the journey that you're on, possibly tempering either your masculine or your feminine side and putting them together. It's coming across to me like you have dexterity in your masculine side, so you may have really needed to learn the being energy. You may have been around people that were easy to manipulate, and you may not have recognized that you were in a manipulative energy, because what can seem normal and what can seem familiar, when you come from a background that has that codependent dynamic, you might see, your parents manipulating each other, but not knowing that that's what was happening. There's sometimes these that, I'm just going to put it like this, that traditional model of the 1950s model, the post-war model, of the man going out to work and the woman staying at home to raise the children. That's good too. But there's more to it. What does she do when the children are grown and they're gone? Then she just, it can get corrupted, is all I'm saying. That the woman also in that scenario needs to be a partner, not subservient. And I'm thinking of kind of the rise of this toxic masculinity, and the stuff that's drawing people to Andrew Tate, for example, because that's kind of the conversation. Have men been emasculated? Have women been masculinized? And where does that go? And then we've got the whole spectrum in between. I just believe that we're all on our own journey of tempering those energies in ourselves and becoming a whole holistic person. And then two whole holistic people come together if they're going to be in a healthy couple. But to my other half, I don't buy that. I just think that healthy people come together and make, a beautiful next healthy step together. That's my understanding. So I've talked for an age. So I'm going to pull some tarot cards for you, pile number 2. The violet flame also is Saint Germain. Okay, we've got the 2 of Swords, which is interesting. So that's moon energy. And we've got the sea in the background. Her heart is crossed. So I believe, so heart energy is heart energy. The heart chakra is air energy. So you might have been strategic rather than feminine and being. And what's interesting to me about this is that you might have, and it's interesting that I brought up that 1950s kind of paradigm of like what a couple should look like, because you may have allowed your masculine side to dominate your feminine side. And when that happens is you may not have been grounded. So you may have had to really work on your root chakra and work on your sacral chakra. And your sacral chakra is where we hold our emotions, in order to be able to be discerning. And it's possible that you ended up trusting a lot of the wrong people because you could have been blocking out your own intuition. Because here she's blindfolded, she's got 2 swords, and her heart is crossed. So maybe that led to you having a lot of burdens. Nine of Swords. And betrayal. You know, this came out in pile number 2, pile number 1 as well. And then we've got the 3 of Wands. Maybe you were like waiting for your ships to come in. And because you weren't open, and he's in a red cape with his with green over his shoulder and all this yellow. Maybe you were so much in strategy and action, and his sleeve is blue. And the hand. So maybe you were like overriding your intuition and thinking that you were acting from a place of logic and intuition, and it may have led to some painful endings. Pile number 2. And it was your feminine energy. Can't write this stuff. 3 of Cups. Learning to integrate, like learning to befriend your own inner divine feminine, learning to integrate these together. And I'm seeing there's a book called I think it's called Self Therapy, and it talks about IFS model of therapy, and IFS is internal family systems. I think you had to bring your own. And what it looks at is your protectors and your exiles. And we talked about protectors both for the dog and for the divine masculine. You may have had to learn how to, instead of dominating and disregarding and maybe disrespecting your divine feminine in yourself, before you could actually build what it is, your truth in the world. You probably had a lot of success building in the world, but it didn't fulfill you. And maybe you're still like, when am I going to be happy? Mañana, inshallah. Why am I always the one doing the work? But I think if you were shut off to your divine feminine side, which the cards are telling me that you were, and if that's not true for you, I would suggest that you pick another pile. Your loyalty was to logic and to the worldly, and I think that probably led you to a spiritual awakening. And you're on a tarot channel. And the Knight of Cups, that sent you on a journey. And we've got water here again. And his cup is empty. He's out searching, but he doesn't know to go within yet. A lot of combativeness and competition along the way. You knew how to fight, but you didn't know how to collaborate, perhaps. And you may have been around people who you may have thought you were winning a lot. And I'm sorry, this is not meant to be a roast. Look, we all have our own journeys. I would definitely fall on the opposite side of this. I would have been someone who would have been conciliatory to my detriment. And I had to learn how to stand up for myself. I had to learn how to fight. I had to learn how to put down the burdens. I had to learn how to build of myself and go on my own Knight of Pentacles journey. And I think you did too, but from the opposite side. So your counterpart actually might be pile number one, pile number two. That you may end up in, you may have been in relationships with a pile number one kind of person. You may have each other, you know. I also, the deck that I used actually in pile number one is from Soulful Revolution. And I remember, I think her name is Mary Jo. She said once, she said, it doesn't matter which side of a codependent relationship you're on, if you're in one. And that's reminding me of the victim, persecutor, rescuer triangle. So you may have, you know, thought you were winning because you were having worldly success, but really when you came back to it, you realized that you weren't building what you wanted to from your truth in your heart. You didn't feel connected to the divine. You didn't feel connected to, you know, your own values. And that's Venus. Venus is divine feminine. Venus is, Venus rules over Taurus, and Venus rules over, I think, just Taurus. Yeah. I could be wrong, but correct me if I'm not. And then Virgo, that's Mercurial energy. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, as is Gemini. So we talked about the twins here. So you had to awaken your own twin. And I'm going to tell you this once, because we talked about me being on the other side of it, just as a kind of a contrast for you to be able to process this. And on the other side, it's not that like I was a victim and, you know, this kind of person was the persecutor, because what you realize, and that on the other side, your manipulation, or the other side of that manipulation, is not playing the victim, but kind of the dance of anger, doing somebody else's work for them. So you may have let other people do your emotional work for you, and they may have enabled you in terms of emotionality, but they may have you know, manipulated you into building for them, into doing the worldly stuff. And we're back again to that paradigm of the man goes out and the woman stays at home, and, you know, she is this like the weaker sex and da 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 da. And again, we're back to that, two integrated people coming together and building something beautiful, irrespective of who's the breadwinner, and irrespective, it's partnership. We make decisions together. We decide what our life wants to look like. We decide together how we want to raise our children. We decide together. So it's, you know, we both, we collaborate. We don't compete with each other. We don't have to have the other one compromise in order to win. Compromise means we compromise outside of our values. We don't compromise on our values. We collaborate on our values, and we compromise where it's not a deal breaker. And that's true partnership to me. So I think you've been on the journey to learn true partnership, as all of us are, to be quite frank. You know, unless you grew up in a home where it was just so, you had that in your parents, and you saw that and you absorbed it, because I'm always quoting this, Eckhart Tolle will say, if you're in a codependent relationship, when you're the child of a codependent relationship, and the parents stay together for the kids, which is a big thing to put on a child. No, don't, like, if you want to stay together for the kids, fine, but go do your work too. Clean up your own stuff and stay together. Otherwise, keeping them in a destructive, toxic environment is not helping them, because as Eckhart Tolle says, they absorb that and they go out into the world and they enact that in their adult relationships, in their romantic lives, in their friendships, in their workspaces, you know, in all of the relationships. And Gemini is your day-to-day relationships. So they may not get the love and the nurturing that they are seeking. So with that pile number 2, I am going to leave it there. I do want to pull for you, because I don't want you to feel like that we haven't got a huge amount of, I just feel like that the nurturing is coming for you. I don't know where you are on your journey. I don't think that this is the end. So we've got this. This is from the Rose Oracle. Say yes, expand through extremes, trust life. I feel like you might be on a precipice. Do it your way. Embrace your uniqueness, untamed, wild. So I think that you may have had to step away from the traditional, what was expected for you, maybe in your community or in society in general, or, wherever you took your projections from, in order to break out of that. And it can be hard when you're very successful to be like, well, I'm very successful, but I'm not super happy. So I think that you've had an awakening, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And what's waiting for you, if you're not already there, and with you, that I'm really getting pile number 2, that you're kind of in this, you're still in this little, you're still processing the pain, and you're still, you're just opening up to your divine feminine energy, and it's a little bit foreign to you, but honestly, that is your journey to feeling open, to feeling held, to feeling nurtured, to feeling what it is that you thought might be missing, and you find that within. And I'm just going to leave it there, pile number 2. Much love to you. Thank you for awakening. Trust the process, and it's getting to know your divine feminine side. And Gemini as well is playful energy. So getting back in touch with your inner child and your exiles, your shadow work. Like, it's the joy, leaning towards joy. You might want to look at pile number 1, actually, because Hummingbird talks about joy, hummingbird medicine, being out in nature, just playing for the sake of playing, not for the sake of success, might be something that you've kind of been not able to do because you were burdened by kind of taking care of other people. So that ability to be able to really hang out with yourself and your own inner child, and to just play, would be really, really powerful. I'm feeling for you, pile number 2. So if you like my content, do please feel to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I would love to see you back at another reading. I'm so grateful that you stopped by. I'm so honored to read your energy. I'm so honored to incarnate at the same time as you. You're beautiful. And Spirit's right here all the time waiting for you. And I believe that you're connecting to that. So I'm going to get into pile number 3. Okay, so pile number 3. Akasha from Sacred Land, Monatomic Andara Essence. I'm feeling excited and kind of anticipatory and giddy a little bit for you. Oh, Ashwini, Aries. First sign of the zodiac, the horse. I'm seeing 3 horses, but I'm seeing, so Ashwini, that is the horsewoman. I'm hearing the song Wild Horses. Authority. Number 10. That's from the Sacred Activations Oracle. Mouse medicine. Now, could you have two very different animals than the horse and the mouse. So beautiful. Oh, gorgeous. This is your soul card. Ah, my word. From the Journey of Love Oracle deck, you've got card number 3, God Speaks. So gorgeous. So I'm going to put this here. So the Star of Transport. And the deity is Ashwini Kumars. I don't know what that's about. So I'm going to look it up because I don't know anything about that deity, because I want to just... The deities of this nakshatra are the horse-headed Ashwini Kumaras, twin sons of the sun, physicians to the gods. They shine with the brilliant luster of the sun. After birth, they were left on earth to be physicians to the people. The Ashwini Kumaras, ever youthful, are the lords of speed, knowledge, and healing. Being half horse, they are immensely fast and vigorous. They are physicians of the gods. They are the physicians of the gods, the people, and the animals. Because of this, Ashwini people have access to several realms. Interesting. So it's the Star of Transport, and I'm always saying this, the Earth is a star. Not the Earth, the sun is a star. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it's card number 1 here. So of the Earth. And you've got God Speaks. God speaks to you through the earth and through the animals, pile number 3. So gorgeous. And then we've got authority here. The frequency of authority reminds us that true authority is powerful, directed, and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. So Ashwini energy is Aries, which is fire, which is a masculine energy, but it's the horsewoman. So we're again getting that, and this has come up in pile number 1 and pile number 2, that integration of the feminine and the masculine energies. This too, I mean, I'm getting sacral chakra here really, really strong, which is the water chakra. And then we've got 6 hands here. That's reminding me of the 6 of Wands, actually. And on the 6 of Wands, he's the general is riding on a map, and we've got leadership here. So the 6 of Wands, leadership, he's revered by his people, and partly because he knows how to be a good leader. He knows where his authority comes from. That also reminds me of human design. And if you look at human design, one of the key features of human design is where does your authority come from? And Ashwini, and with this God Speaks, well, my father used to say to me all the time, he was like, once you've made up your mind, wild horses couldn't drag it out of you. That's a good thing. When it is well directed and the authority is coming from the right place. So when you've got that, and I'm thinking of the Hierophant answers directly to God and does not go through, and that's reminding me of transcendence as well. Not the movie, but transcendentalism is what I'm trying to think of. That is, what's his name? Thoreau. Henry Thoreau? And Emerson. And Emerson says, stand gate at the portal of your mind. Stand gate at the portal of your mind. So having that mastery to your mental energy, knowing, because if you don't know how to direct your authority well, it can be misused. Not only by you and your power, it can be misused by another person. So you could end up being kind of somebody else's weapon of mass destruction. If you haven't got mastery over your emotions, you can be very clouded. And it's not to say that your emotions are wrong. It's to say that you need to metabolize them and come to this place of clarity so that you can move forward in harmony with the divine. Because you might think, stand gate at the portal of your mind, and you might move forward in the wrong direction. And I'm thinking of that song Spiderwebs by Katie Melua. Should I ask him to fight? I hope he knows when he asks me to fight. It's really about the use of authority in the right way. So, and we've got the authority card here. So what that's talking to me about, like in modern Western society, I guess, which is where I live and where I was raised, we are kind of using authority, power, and leadership almost synonymously, but they're not really that. And it's funny because there was a reading I did not too long ago where I now am having kind of the flip side. I was looking at authority as being external, and it can be, and that's the paradox of it, I guess. It depends on which perspective you have, on which way you're looking. But, you know, a little bit further on, I'm now seeing authority as being something that's more innately, I'm seeing power as being the center. And then above that, a little bit more, you know how you can say that there's data and then there's information, and data is kind of like organized. Data is the pure form, and then information is organized data. But organized data, information, like without the intention, it can be used or misused, and you can have fake news and all that kind of stuff. And fake news doesn't necessarily have to be that I'm using data. You know that phrase, lies, damn lies and statistics. You can still have, you know, pure data used in the wrong way. Wisdom is that discernment piece. And that's what I'm getting from, that's what I'm seeing as kind of being I want to say the evolution of power. So at the center, we have power. What do I do with that power? Well, I need to direct it I need to know where the authority is. What is the logos? It's God, really. It's the divine. How do I access the divine? I have to purify my emotions and get to the truth, which is having a clear heart, like to have that discernment. And that's by understanding the truth of what my emotions are telling me and metabolizing those emotions in my body and becoming grounded, root chakra, and being able to take action from that rooted place with a clear heart. And then this turquoise, like this authority card is just beautiful to me. It's, you know, we've got the sun here, the solar plexus chakra. Then we've got three the tri for me is it's the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and the divine. And that's us. That's like our heart being, you know, if you just have one aspect of that online, you don't have balance. So being able to have those three in balance, the green is for the heart chakra. And in order to get to that discerning place, not only do we need to be able to be grounded, we also have to metabolize our emotions, which means that we have to look at the truth of them. And this turquoise in here is representative of the higher heart. And this looks like a steering wheel to me. This is how we drive ourselves forward. Oh my goodness. And this is the star of transport. So with that clarity, and I talked about this in pile number 2 as well, like in order to move forward into ascension and to alchemize things. Like, it's such a long process over God knows how many lifetimes. It's not something that you're like, oh, I just alchemized that. It's not like that for me. I'm more and more and more like really being drawn to metabolizing things, because we are in this dense stage of humanity, and things are dense, and we can manifest all we want, but if we don't clean up our auric field and we don't deal with what's in our bodies, and we don't get to the root of, of us, and including our past lives, and including our formative years and all that kind of stuff, like, we're manifesting chaos, and from chaos absolutely can come beauty. And I'm seeing the Tower card now, and the Tower card for me is really powerful, because it's a sign of transformation, and it's a sign of something breaking. They say when you break your mala beads, that's like you're breaking a level of karma, and that's what the Tower is for me. It's like overcoming lessons, and sometimes, yeah, it is really it can be really difficult, and there can be a lot of struggle in it, and there could be like Camelot burns down and you have to start from the beginning. But I think on a soul level, we're like, wee. We really, I think we incarnate for that reason. I know there's a lot of people who are like, oh my gosh, who would choose this life? We do. We literally do. The divine chose this life. The divine birthed this beautiful, I'm telling you, this is an exclusive experience to have here. Not everybody can incarnate, and not everybody has permission to come on earth. And I know it doesn't always feel good because of these emotions that we have. But when we are able to alchemize our lives, our bodies, our auric fields, alchemize our paradigms, alchemize and metabolize what we are able to, because back to what I was talking about here. So power for me is the center. Power for me is kind of the raw energy. And then authority is knowing which direction to go, almost logos. We want to be in harmony with the divine, because away from the divine is demonic, is devil. Devil is lived backwards. God is life. The divine is life. I mean, call it what you want. I mean, 10 years ago, I couldn't even utter the word God out of my lips, but it's normal for me now. But God for me, I heard it described this way as grand overall design. It's a frequency. It's a sentience. It's something that like is this. Wallace Wattles call it that thinking stuff. It's this beautiful energy that has created us from its very existence, and everything is divine. Even the darkness, even the lessons, even the absence. Think about the night sky. In the night sky, that's how we see the stars. That's how we're able to navigate. And I'm hearing that quote from Claire Nocte now. The spiritual adepts like the dark because in there they can see their own light. So then we have, after authority, then we have leadership for me. And leadership comes with, it's the next, I guess, evolution of that power. And it's kind of synonymous with wisdom. So you can have the label of authority, but you might not have the gravitas. You might have not metabolized it. And that's actually that. I'm going to kind of call it hierarchical, but when I'm calling it hierarchical, I almost mean like expansion. I don't mean vertical layers up. I mean, you have a nucleus, and then outside the nucleus, you have like a spherical kind of, like I'm seeing a black hole birthing a sun. That's what I'm seeing. So metabolizing. So you have the emotions, or you have the pure energy, and then we have to metabolize that mentally, physically, spiritually, and then we go to the next level. And that's when we're able to do that, then we become alchemists, I guess. No, I think alchemy is the process, is what I'm so sorry. I'm rambling. I'm actually trying to work out some of these ideas as I'm speaking to you. So I'm really appreciative that you're with me if you haven't clicked off yet. I'm so sorry. And we haven't even got to mouse medicine yet. And medicine is about, I remember someone telling me once before that, you don't have to be the biggest person in order to win, I guess. And they were like, just be like a mouse. Just nibble at their ankles until they fall over. And now I'm seeing David and Goliath. David was the shepherd. David used his slingshot to take out Goliath. He went back to his own nature. He used what he knew. He was simple and pure, but he had direction and discernment, and he was in harmony with the divine, and he was able to take out Goliath, the giant that all of the warriors were fearful of. And this little shepherd guy came along and took him out. And then he took the sword of truth and he decapitated him. And that is supposed to be representative of the severing of attachments. So I really, really, really love that story. And to be fair, it was Mary Morrissey. I heard her tell this story about, she reframed the whole David and Goliath as story. And I was so inspired and so moved by how she talked about it, that I ended up, like, I had wanted a tattoo for so long, and I ended up getting a tattoo of the Sword of Truth, and it's actually at my higher heart, and I put it there before I even knew what higher heart was. And there's this surrender quality. I was listening to someone the other day who was talking about how, the spiritual path, and they were saying that, like, as you become more further on your spiritual journey, or deeper on your spiritual journey, or whatever it is you want to call it, when you become awakened, like, it's not that you have all these magical powers and it gets easier. You're actually dealing with bigger things. And it's not to put you off or to whatever. She was like, you're always going to need your boxing gloves. And I thought it was brilliant. And her thing was, where am I cringe? Where am I cringe? And I know where I'm cringe. And it's your ego. Well, that's back to the shadow work. That's back to the things that we're afraid to look at. No matter how evolved we become, we still have a shadow. We still have a darkness. We still need the light of the divine we still need to surrender to our higher selves. So that is what Ashwini, that I think that your whole journey has been about surrendering to your higher self, to really learning how to recognize true authority, learning how to recognize not only your own true authority, and I believe you probably had to find that first, be able to stand up to power, let's say, through understanding your own power. And the mouse spirit is about, or the mouse medicine is about, like, so the mouse is very small. It will notice things that others will miss, and it's very sensitive, and it needs to be, because it's small. So it can be also very come across as being very persnickety. So people who have mouse as their kind of their spirit animal, I guess, may find themselves being a bit like overly attuned to the details. So when you get mouse spirit, yes, the details are important. We're back to duality as well. It's also important to look at the bigger picture, because mouse is a prey for, like, so many animals, snakes, hawk spirit. And I'm seeing the card in the spirit oracle deck where it is, let spirit be your guide. And hawk spirit, they can see for miles from up high, but also they can see a mouse on the ground and they can zoom in and get their prey. So having the detail and also having the broader, so having the internal, like, having the internal grounding, and metabolizing your stuff, because sometimes we're all the a-hole until we're not. In every situation. It's not like, Abraham Hicks says this, it's not like someday, I become enlightened and then I get a certificate and I stick it on the wall. It's every day. Every day we shower, every day we pray, every day we eat. Life is this ever giving, ever cycling process. And everything, Dr. Phil actually says this, everything is a negotiation. So it depends who you're talking to, and it depends what the situation is, and it depends. And that's where discernment comes in. And that's always like, once you have kind of built your foundation, you have built your root and cleared and learned how to deal with your emotions, because you're always going to have emotions. You're always going to have triggers. You're always going to grow. You're always going to come up against somebody who's bigger than you. You're always going to be like, it's just never ending. And that's why we came here. It's never ending. But so is the growth. So is the beautiful. So is the beauty. So are the waves that come in from spirit. So is the so is the joys and the challenges and the cycles. So as above, so below. It's such a gift to be granted it's such a gift to be granted the opportunity to incarnate in this lifetime. And I know a lot of us think, I am not coming back here. Was I high when I said yes to this? And you weren't. It is just such a gift to have this experience. And I know it doesn't feel like that a lot of the time, especially once you get on the spiritual path. Once you get beyond having success and you move into the fulfillment. I remember when I did my teacher training, I did it in the Bahamas at the Shivananda Center there. And I noticed, I've been there for Thanksgiving and for Christmas at different times. And I noticed a lot of the swamis were doctors, physicists, chemists. And and some of them artists. And I had asked them, I was like, well, why after all that did you become a swami? And they were like, because science can only teach us so much. It's limited. And that makes sense. My dad used to always say, you can't argue with science. And when I was a child, and it's interesting because he's a doctor as well. But what's interesting about that is now I actually work with a lot of doctors in my day job, and I work in medical research, but I do the admin side of it. So I steward the money and the grants and all that kind of stuff. I don't do the science part of it, but I'm fascinated by the science part of it as well. But I do not think it can be quite toxic, actually, that environment, like formalized academic, can be really toxic, depending on how every it's, I guess, because it's a closed it's almost a closed system. So if you're someone who is, a wild horse, you might struggle a little bit actually with the closedness of it. And I know I do. And I work in the research side of it as well, which is so interesting because research literally means asking a question. I mean, I don't know if that's the etymology of the word research, but that is the concept. The concept is asking a question and looking for answers through experiment, through not knowing, through the unknown, And so it's so interesting to me that would be told that you have to that you can't argue with science. I'm like, but science is ever evolving. I remember when they were saying oh, I remember when eggs were bad for you and now they're good for you. And now all the things that Joe Dispenza talks about in epigenetics. And he really, I love him. I went down a huge rabbit hole about him, with him a few years ago. And I've kind of got back into him recently because he's popped up in some readings that I'm watching. And he does a really good job of for me, of bridging the scientific with the spiritual. And I'm hearing this quote from what's his name, from Einstein, where he was saying something about, if the more I learn about science, the more I believe in God. And I think that's just so beautiful. So I'm going to pull some tarot for you, pile number 3, because I've been talking for a really long time. I'm so sorry. I thought this was going to be a quick reading, but you might want to watch this on like 1.5 to blast yourself through it. That Wild Horses song, the lyrics, childhood living is easy to do. The things you wanted, I bought them for you. Graceless lady, you know who I am. You know I can't let you slide through my hands. I watched you suffer a dull aching pain. Now you've decided to show me the same. No sweeping exits or offstage lines could make me feel bitter or treat you unkind. So I think, pile number 3, what makes you the genuine article is that you've really been at the mercy of some, either you've been at the mercy of some horrendous leadership and became that and overcame that, or you've been at the receiving end of some horrendous leadership and just maintained your light. You refused, and oh my goodness, the High Priestess. Connected to your intuition, learned to follow the divine judgment. And I think those who came against you suffered some severe karma when you were able to make that change and walk away. Maybe you galloped away. Maybe you had to gallop away. This one is, hang on, I'm gonna need to cover this. This one is called Cruelty. And it's interesting that I was talking about medical research, because this is mouse, and we've got mouse spirit. Like, we experiment on animals for our own ends. I actually believe that we don't have to do that. We've got illusion. We've got illusion. That's the 7 of Cups. This is the 9 of Swords. I think that we are under the illusion that we have to experiment on animals in order. I think we can find the same answers intuitively through our going within, through tapping into our innate divine frequencies, through meditation. And as we move from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, and that's back to not back to mouse spirit, but back to grounding into Mother Gaia, becoming more natural again. For example, let's say one of the things that we do to numb our pain, we in modern society have a tendency to go towards substances, like maybe wine, alcohol, we maybe some chemicals, pharmaceuticals. And again, we're back to how our pharmaceuticals developed. And there's so much around, like, big pharma as well, politically. Oh my goodness. I'm going to, actually, I don't need to cover this one. This is the 7 of Wands. No, it's not. It's the 7 of, that's the 7 of Pentacles. Failure. And that's reminding me of, is it Edison? Yes, Edison. He was like, I never had a failure. I had feedback. Failing forward. You have maybe been somebody who had to fail forward. This is the New Elements Tarot. I love this. And again, we've got duality here. Not only do we have duality, but we were talking about trees and being grounded. You've got the two seasons here. Jupiter energy, expansion. So I feel like your path to expansion has been to kind of move away from traditional societal, well, I think that's this way for all of us. Society, I want to say, has become very prescriptive, like but in the wrong direction. There we go, logos. It became, and it's reminding me of that quote from the Bible, build your kingdom not on the earth. I'm paraphrasing, I don't know what the actual thing is. And then we've got joy. Dolphins. Dolphins for me are galactic beings. There's just no way. So because they're galactic beings, and because this is galactic beings, intuition, judgment, and your journey has been about bringing that divinity to the earth. That's what makes you really, really the genuine article. You have not been, whoever came for you was not able to corrupt you. You may have been corrupted for a time, and we all go through parts of our journey where we defer to the wrong authority. And I have become someone who now believes that I do not, the only force that I, in my heart, will want to defer to, the only force, and remember, that can come through people, that can come through situations, that can come through the earth, that can, God speaks to us through other readers, through people, through our relationships, through the food that we eat. And that's reminding me of, so Aries is Mars energy, that's the body. Like recently, I just have been on a naturally drawn to like completely changing what I'm eating. And it's so yummy in my body. And it's more holistic foods that are closer to the sun, more pure, more natural. So I feel like that your journey back to your more natural is actually making you more divine. Again, another paradox. Oh my goodness. Observe. So this is from the Lemurian Star Child Oracle deck, and I love these. Loving eyes see all equanimity, see the truth, step back. So remember we talked about stepping back here. So the owl is the owl is the companion of Athena. The owl, there's a ladder here. And the owl's heart is just beautiful. The owl is known as the hawk of the eagle of the night. The owl hunts at night. Intuition. We talked about being able to see, I think you're a starseed. We talked about being able to see the stars and being a North Star for people in the darkness through your intuition, but it's going within, through joy, through play. Water may be really significant for you too. You might be able to scry through water, or get messages in the shower, get messages in the tub, get messages, and we have illusion here. That's the 7 of Cups. Water is for intuition and emotions, and we were talking about the sacral chakra here. You're here to birth something really, really important just by being you. Just by being you. It's a frequency. And however you manifest that in the world through the things that you do, maybe you're going to write a book, maybe you're going to create a business, maybe you're just going to, and I don't mean just, maybe how you operate in the job that you do, in the day job that you do, emits that frequency and brings some enlightenment to it. And the owl has the ability to see very far away. The owl also feasts on the mouse. So you're able to understand what's in your shadow and what you need to cannibalize and recycle. Oh my gosh. Heart chakra. We've been talking about the heart. Dolphin baby. Your inner child is beautiful. Your inner child, I think you could be an indigo child. You're definitely a starseed, in my opinion. Lemurian energy, origin, flow, timeless, adaptable, free. Take your time. That's reminding me of Knight of Pentacles. And look, heart here at the heart here at the third eye. Look at this. This is what you're here, dolphin baby, to do. To bring in that divinity and to just, you are, again, we're talking about the birthplace of the sun is Kritika, which is associated with Ashwini. And, well, it's not, it's beside Ashwini, adjacent. But you're obviously, in my opinion, your essence, your sun energy is just radiating when you're in your truth, when you're allowing yourself to defer to your higher self, not to, because that's divine energy. Your higher self, your incarnation on this planet is literally just a sliver of your potential, because you're in a physical body and you're limited and you're dealing with the human mind. But when you can come back into your body and metabolize all these things that you came here to do, you are able to be a direct channel for the divine. And just by walking on Mother Gaia and being in conversation and being around other people, you are absolutely, you're changing vibrations in every community that you touch. Cosmic self. That's what makes you the genuine article. You're so, I think your inner child is probably a spirit guide for you too. And nature is really conduit for you to connect to connect with your own natural energy. You are a cosmic being. Stay confident in your truth. And we've got throat chakra here. So we've got third eye, throat chakra, heart chakra, third eye. You are just, I think what may have challenged you, pile number one, is being grounded and connecting the being grounded to the heart. I think you might have needed to ground yourself in order to metabolize your emotions in your body, to let yourself either move away from leadership that was corrupted in yourself or in others. Like from, we say that we can give up authority. You're now in a stage, or you're moving to a stage where you do not defer to anyone. You revere the divine in yourself. You defer to the divine through that reverence, and you revere the divine in others. And that may have at some point either gone either way. It may have made you a bit of a, when you were just in deference mode, it may have led you to be kind of a bit tyrannical or self-sacrificing. So pile number 3, your energy is just, it's just so soothing and beautiful and powerful. It's like sitting by a campfire. It's like being at a carnival. It's like you're just so rich and beautiful, and you have learned, or you are learning, how to navigate that in just such a delicious, rich, delightful way. And I am so honored to have read for you. So I'm going to leave it there. If you like my content, do please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I am going to leave it there. And I just wanted to mention Akasha from Sacred Land, monatomic Andara crystal. This is just saying to me also, it's that connection to Mother Gaia. I think you're very connected to Mother Gaia. You are here to really steward that frequency that you have to help and be a leader to, you know, I'm hearing that phrase now, pick up your cross and follow me. You lead by example. You walk the walk. You are just so, so beautiful. And thank you for incarnating, and sending you so much love, pile 3. Okay, ciao for now. Bye, bye, bye.